All right, guys. Well, I'm Eric Lloyd with Oregon Risk Management Solutions, and this is episode 2 of What Not to Do. After the first episode, we said that if you guys like what we did, tell us, give us some positive feedback, like, share, subscribe. And I had enough people give me a hard time about how I guess I'm an official YouTuber now that we decided to go ahead and make a second episode of this. So without further ado, here we go. All right, so we got our first clip here. We're standing on some sketchy scaffolding, it looks like. I hate scaffolding. I'm scared of heights. Don't tell anybody. Some of you guys know this already. Just trying to decide which way is going to go there. Okay, so obviously scaffolding is a common piece of equipment on construction sites and other jobs where we need to be able to have a stable platform and elevated surfaces. But guys, stable is the key to this. We should not have our scaffolding moving back and forth to the point at which we're having to duck around the buildings we're working around. Obviously, something is wrong here. And, you know, my initial thought goes to where could we stabilize this better? How could we maybe anchor this to a piece to keep it from shifting? The other place where my brain totally goes with this is at the end of the day, scaffolding is a wear item. And the number of times we set it up and tear it down and set it up and tear it down is eventually going to wear this thing out to the point we need to start replacing parts. And that's kind of where my brain starts to go with this, is maybe we just push this past its usable service life, and we need to just start swapping out components on it. If your scaffolding is moving that much on your job site, that's a sign maybe something's gone awry. And when you have your safety consultant who's scared to death of heights out on that, that's going to be a real bad day. Okay, I'm very happy to move away from the height-related one. Let's go to the next clip. Reaching towards a car battery, revving things up. Oh no. Oh no, that's not good at all. What on earth? He's just like using himself to function test the battery. That's insane. I don't even know how he did that. I mean, I guess the human being is relatively electrically conductive, but that just all around seems like a bad plan. I don't even know what to say about that. Don't do that. You know, I guess there's an argument for all's well that ends well, and he ended up starting the car and he didn't end up stopping his heart in the process. But that seems like a formula for some really nasty burns or some really irregular cardiac rhythms there. We set all our props on the table. We didn't set an AED out, but he might have needed that one. Sometimes we might talk about the regulation that comes into play on this. I don't know about a rule on this one, but it sure seems like a really bad idea. Let's just not do that. All right, let's go to the next clip and see what's in store for us here. We're back to heights again. Dakota's just picking on me at this point. Where is our fall protection? What on earth? They are really high up in the air. But hey, they're high vis, so that's what matters, right? Everybody can see them plummet to their doom. How many stories down is that? Like, that's making me dizzy just looking at this video. He zooms in to show how far down it is. There's people right down below him too. Holy cow, and he's really proud of himself. Look at that. Okay, apparently my fear of heights is going to be the theme for the episode here today. You know, and I do notice that the guys are even wearing harnesses. A lot of them have their fall protection harnesses on. Fun fact, did you know that harnesses work a lot better if you connect them to something? No joke. We have seen serious injuries. We've seen fatalities where people are wearing their harnesses. They just don't get it connected to something or something that's strong enough to hold them. And they fall or their equipment tips over or whatever happens, and they're met with really disastrous results. We know that falling from not even that crazy tall heights can be one of the biggest causes of injuries and fatalities in the workplace, and especially from a height like this. I mean, you don't even stand a chance if something goes wrong here. Not to mention the safety aspect of that, but we look at top-cited citations from OSHA, and fall protection is very consistently #1 across all industries. When we look at the construction industry especially, failure to use fall protection is the #1 top-cited item that we see every single year. Fall protection in most industries becomes required, believe it or not, at 48 inches or higher. Under the construction industry, sometimes it's a little bit higher than that, depending on the job we're doing and where we're doing it from. Another fun fact for you, Oregon OSHA has on record as their lowest height fatality fall happening from 42 inches, okay? We don't have to fall off of a 10-story scaffolding to have a really bad time. So let's definitely make sure we've got our fall protection on and connected to something when we're doing crazy stuff like this. All right, we got one more clip for this episode. Let's see what we got. Once again, with the high up in the air, man. I feel like I'm being targeted here. That is a janky crane. Holy cow. This is another one that I guess I would like to think is maybe happening in a different country. Not that it makes it all that much better, but because at least anybody who's working here under OSHA's rules would know that this is way insane. But yeah, it's about time to retire that piece of machinery. We talked earlier about scaffolding being a wear item, and apparently if you run this long enough, the cab of your crane becomes one too. For some reason, this makes me think of when I was a kid and there was an old farm truck on our ranch up in Idaho that had always scared the crap out of me looking down when we were driving it. There was no floorboards. You could see the ground going underneath it. And this is like the grown-up variation of that fear where you look down through the floor of your crane and all you see is like hundreds of feet down. This is very gnarly. Obviously, equipment maintenance is a critical thing, whether it comes to making sure that the brakes and steering work on our forklift, or that the hydraulic lines are in good shape, or the shielding is in place, or whatever the case may be. We need to make sure we're paying attention to our equipment maintenance. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this crane is past its prime and ready to get retired. Above and beyond all that, I'm willing to bet their wiper blade might be a little bit worn out too. So again, we might be tempted to say all's well that ends well, but if any of these videos had gone a different way, somebody might have gotten hurt. These guys might have needed some quality medical supplies on their job site. They might have needed something like one of our level 1 or level 2 trauma kits that we make. If you guys need any information on those medical supplies, being able to have the proper tools to render first aid in the event of a serious emergency on your job site or just in your life, go ahead and jump over to our website, OregonRMS.com, for additional information. All right, guys, that's going to be it for episode 2 of What Not to Do. Thanks for coming back and watching this one. I wouldn't be a good YouTuber if I didn't say like, share, and subscribe. So make sure and follow us, and we'll be back for episode 3.